my first job at a bookshop because I wanted to get into publishing, work for big publishing companies and, just get an idea how the publishing industry works. So that
the major goal was to be, what was the ultimate goal? Did you want to be a writer? Or you want to be a publisher?
Yeah.
What's the ultimate goal?
Wanted to be a publisher, with my university degree and things like that, but to also wanted to write. I always had that, in me to write something. I was very creative, so always wanted to write. And I think the job at the bookstore definitely helped to get an idea of how the industry worked. Getting to talk to, some of the publishing company reps, like from Penguin Books, Simon & Schuster, things like that, to getting an understanding of, what it takes to be a writer and things like that. Because at university or at college, they teach you, but they only teach you so much. So it was a great, step into kind of understanding what goes into, writing a book, publishing a book, what they look for and things like that.
How long did you work at the bookstore for?
I worked at the bookstore for about almost 3 years, and it was a retail job, and it was hard because at the time I was recently married. So
yeah, when did you get married?
I got married when I was 22.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
you were going to college at the time too, right?
Yeah, I was at college. Yeah, absolutely. So I was at college and working as well. But not long after I got married, we started to build our home, and we had our first child, my daughter, and we just thought, like this is our life now. So I dropped out of college to work full time at the bookshop to try and bring in more income. And that was a tough period in my life because in our lives, because what happened then was my wife stopped working, because she was looking after my daughter. So we were only receiving my wage, and it wasn't a very big wage, working in retail and things like that. So there were some really, tough times then, but it was all definitely worth it. I wouldn't change a thing of what happened, but definitely makes you grow up real quick.
How did you segue from, because we know you did, but what was the transition from the bookstore to what happens next?
That was interesting because I always knew that I needed to get more money to make the family work. And yeah, kids do that, right? They kind of like force you.
And you had another kid, right? When was your second child? How many kids do you have?
4.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I remember. So and when did the second one come around?
She came 2 years later, and between my first and second, that's when I thought, this is something that I'm going to have to change. Yeah. Change definitely career wise. And I had a friend at the time who was working in a finance company, and he said, hey, you need to get out of the bookstore. You need to do something that'll earn you a bit more money. And he thankfully through him got a job working in a contact center here in Australia, and worked into finance. Doing a whole
moment. This is a big moment for you right here. This is a crossroads because you have I always talk about this. You have your passion and then you have opportunity. So, the passion is like, you wanted to be a writer, you want to be a publisher, you wanted, you working at a bookstore, you wrote for a magazine. This is your DNA, this is deep in your blood to be a writer. And then it's crossroads, but then you have 2 kids and you got this retail job in a bookstore, but you're like, I can't, something's got to either go, I'm either going to go this route or this route.
Right.
And, so, I mean, was that difficult for you?
It was, because it wasn't something that I thought I was very good at the beginning. I thought, I can't do this. I can't work in finance. And it's taking me away from what I love, what I'm passionate about. But, necessity sometimes brings out, the hunger to succeed. So I stayed with that company for 16 years. It was General Electric. I worked for GE in finance, working in consumer and commercial finance. And for the majority of that time, I worked as a workplace trainer, which I never thought in my mind I would be, a teacher or, a corporate teacher or, somewhat a corporate trainer, anything like that.